Hello, and welcome back to the Beyond the Cert podcast. But oh shoot, it's Beyond the Coach. Dang it! But hello and welcome back. We are so out of practice. We haven't podcasted since I think it's been a month.
It's been a while.
So obviously I'm out of.
It hasn't been a month. It's felt like a month with just
Because I have not said Beyond the Cert since one of the first podcasts we did. So.
Yeah. I still, when I write marketing materials, sometimes I'll mix up Beyond the Cert and Beyond the Coach. I'll be typing and my brain just goes to one direction or the other. And I'm like, why did we go there?
And the funniest part is you don't really talk about the podcast and marketing. So it's all usually Beyond the Cert. But you know what? We're here and we're showing up and that's all that matters. I told Chris, as we were about to start this, I was like, wow, I look 32 weeks pregnant right now. Just feeling a little rough this morning. And if this is an example of just show up no matter what, I don't know what is. If you're not watching this on YouTube, it's probably the best decision. If you are watching it on YouTube, I'm really sorry. And this morning I told Chris this too. I texted Chris in a panic at 6:30 this morning because I was like, we're podcasting at 7:30, right? We never do this, but I didn't set my alarm. I forgot. And Caden set his alarm for 5:30 and he turned it off. And then we slept till 6:30.
Did you naturally wake up at 6:30 or was there another alarm for 6:30?
I woke up at 6:26 and I was like, oh shit. I literally shook him 3 times and he didn't wake up. And I'm like, is he dead? Why is he not waking up? He just laid there. That's the second time that's happened in the past couple of weeks. It's sleeping like a rock. I'm like, hello, it's 6:30.
My God. You're like, hi, it's time to wake up.
We need to get up because we need to walk before, I don't know if rain's starting again today, but my goodness. Anyways, I forgot to introduce myself. I'm one of the hosts, Kelsey Manini.
And I'm Chris Sweet.
Oh, we're so, this is okay. We're fine, everyone.
It's the first practice after the off season.
Yeah.
It's you're a little rusty.
It's a little rough.
You're not throwing the same way. You're not catching the same way.
It's true. Balls are slipping through our hands.
It's like the Eagles losing to the Giants last night.
I really, for real, almost picked the Giants to win in the Pick'ems League, and I didn't. And then, of course, lo and behold, Caden did. He's like,
well, you want to know?
I didn't have anything to lose.
For reference, guys, Caden is currently last in the Pick'ems. He may be moving his way up. Tied for last. I think he's tied because people dropped out.
He's only tied because they stopped picking.
But yes. And, my strategy this week with Pick'ems was actually to pick the favorites of every game. And
this week or last week?
No, this week. Last week clearly didn't matter for shit. Doesn't matter who I pick. It was every other game was getting tossed around. So I said,
did pick Jacksonville, though. I was pretty pumped about that one.
I didn't. But I was like, you know what? I'm just going to pick the favorites this week. I'm going to pick the favorites, and I'm just going to see what happens.
Yeah,
I didn't pick the Chiefs, though. Didn't pick the Chiefs. I don't think that they were the favorite. Great question. I just know I didn't pick them.
I haven't made my picks yet. I only picked Thursday because I was like, this is the capacity I have today. And I'll probably do the rest today.
So
see how I'm feeling.
We'll see how the strategy works out. I'm already out of our loser pool, so.
That's what Caden is mad about. He's like, the only reason I'm in last is because I actually do research and everyone else is just picking favorites.
Correct, Caden. Correct. However, his strategy may make him have a redemption arc right now, so.
It's true.
Maybe we'll see who comes out on top.
Maybe I'll try to just pick all the non-favorites this week. I'll pick all the underdogs.
Yeah, pick the opposite of me and we'll see who comes out. Should we do our little competition every week on our podcast?
I don't know if I can pick all the underdogs. I don't know if there's going to be that many wins, but I am for sure going to take the Bengals with their 80-year-old quarterback that's coming in. Also, I was joking because Thursday Night Football next week is Aaron Rodgers and Joe Flacco playing each other because it's the Steelers-Bengals. And I'm like, this is the worst Thursday night football game. We just have two grandpas in the league.
Well, Aaron Rodgers' photo did pop up on our screen last night, and I said, Kenneth, he looks like a grandfather. Like, he literally looks like he could be my grandpa. I forget who he was next to, but he was like, they had lined up a few quarterbacks, and I was like, he literally looks like he could be their grandfather. Like, you look like you're looking at a family tree, not a lineup of quarterbacks.
But dude's doing good this year. I mean, he's proven it. I mean, how much longer do you last, my guy? Like, it's kind of like with Tom Brady, how he went and like had that really bad last season. It's like, just die a hero, man. Just like retire.
No, do we need to bring up Tom Brady right now?
Sorry, no. It just was the only relatable quarterback.
He should have ended his career. No, okay, listen. No, I get it. But Gronk is really where I felt hurt. Like, I felt...
Because he retired. Like, at least Brady didn't retire. Brady's like, I'm still playing.
And Brady, we like knew he was having a rough relationship with, you know, the coaching staff.
Bill.
The leadership staff, if you will. So, you know, I get it. But Gronk, come on, man. Anyways, this isn't a football podcast.
Sorry if you guys aren't football people. Hopefully you just skipped on through that. It's like the ads at the beginning of a podcast.
And coming to you now, NFL Red Zone. Promo code Beyond the Coach.
If there's a promo code, I need it because that shit's expensive. It's only $10 a month, but we pay way too much for TV.
Well, we do the like whatever the higher up packages, but it's because Kenneth got like a healthcare worker discount this year.
Nice.
So he came to me and he had a whole presentation about it. He was like, "Listen, babe, what if?" Because last year we got into a little riff last year, okay? Because that shit's expensive, and he didn't tell me he bought it. So I was like, "Honey, we've got to talk about these things, okay?" Yeah, like, you know, the whole talk to your husband thing needs to also be like, talk to your wife. Like, we need to, before you hit checkout and add to cart, okay?
It was only $100 a month.
That's it. But then this year was a different strategy. He came to me and he sat down with me at our dining room and he's like, "Babe, we were setting up our network here, right? So like in the process of that, because I put him in charge of that, he was like, "Listen, I found out that there's a healthcare worker discount and it's only going to be like, I think it was like $27 a month in comparison to like $100 a month that we were paying last year." And that's like it was like comboed too with something with our like network, YouTube TV, whatever it is. And I was like, "Okay." And he goes, "So can I get it?" I was like, "Yes, we can get it this time."
I don't know. $27.99 is kind of a lot.
I was like, "I'm not sure we can spend $30. I'm just not sure."
The way we reason with it is that we only pay for TV 18 weeks of the year. Well, maybe 20. We only pay for it during football season and we get rid of it.
Really?
But so this year we did get it back for the Masters, so we technically paid for it.
Do you do YouTube TV? You like turn it on and off?
Hulu. We just pause it.
Oh, that's what it is.
We pause it, and then I think what we do is pause it, and then we like activate it for the Masters, and then we pause it again. But this year we forgot to pause it. We did have YouTube TV, and then they had taken away something like 4 years ago. And so we got rid of it, and then we got Hulu back.
Well, let's face it. They have every show every other place nowadays.
But it's dumb because on Hulu, we still see commercials. On, like, if I'm watching a show on there. I'm like, yeah, I pay for the TV. Why can't this be like Netflix?
Correct.
Anyways,
wow, now that these topics are completely unrelated to the topic.
Unrelated to the topic today. We are going to talk about clients. Like, we're just going to chit chat about if you are a coach who has clients. So we've talked about this. We've had a master class about like inconsistent clients and how to like have authority as a coach. And it kind of all ties into the topic. We're actually running a full master class a week from now on October 30th. So I'll talk about it before we talk, and then we'll obviously talk about it after. But you can sign up for that in the description. But it's basically about how to stop your clients from self-sabotaging, which I don't know about y'all, but you could do everything in your power as a coach, and you'll probably still have clients that do this. And I think that's one of the biggest take homes to start off is like, it doesn't matter what you could do to be a perfect coach. You still may have this, but we're hoping that the strategies that we share with you kind of hopefully reduce that a little bit and can reduce the risk. It's kind of like if you don't smoke cigarettes, you're reducing your risk of lung cancer. If you follow these strategies, you reduce your risk of having self-sabotaging clients. Yes. I love a good analogy. That was a horrible analogy.
I was just going to let you go with it. I was like, Jesus, take the wheel on that one. Like,
podcast might just be unhinged for no reason because we haven't podcasted in so long. And
I'm living out of boxes. You're 32 weeks pregnant. I just drove across the country for 5 days. I just got a desk yesterday. I'm like, this is our best efforts. And if anything, again, if we can prove that we can show up, you can too. Now that sounded like an advertisement.
You can too. That was an advertisement. I don't know what the advertisement's for, but
no, it's for the do it hard.
Do it hard. All the time. No, I'm sorry for anyone listening. Hopefully this isn't your first opinion of us.
Oh man. What a great day to be back.
Is this what other podcasts are like? I don't listen to enough.
I listen to quite a lot on my road trip. Some of them are like us, some of them are not.
They're not like us. They're not like us. Well,
I will add too, the self-sabotage thing going into this time of year is like the biggest thing as well. You guys are heading into, we're all heading into the holiday season. We've got Halloween to kick us off really soon. And then, we'll
tomorrow,
go into,
if you're listening to this.
If you're listening tomorrow,
spooky.
Then that's crazy. Wait, tomorrow's Halloween? No.
No, when it's not. Wait, shit. No, the day after the master class is Halloween.
I was like, hold on. You just said that we're launching this a week before, Kelsey. You're confusing the people. Come on.
Unhinged. I have to put the explicit sign on this podcast because it's so unhinged, even if it's
unhinged.
Not.
If anybody has a short attention span, we're probably really doing them a solid right now. Like, we're switching topics like left and right.
You have no idea what this is about.
It's like a surprise.
We don't want to talk too much about self-sabotage because you have to come to the masterclass to learn more about it. Correct. And also, in order to attend the masterclass, you actually have to join our WhatsApp group first, which is what the link is in the bio.
Yes.
Our free Coach Collective WhatsApp group where you can actually get your client cases solved for free. That's actually what you have to do first. This is only a masterclass for those in that group. Which is how we're kind of restructuring that group for those of you listening that were in the WhatsApp group or are in the WhatsApp group. We used to host we used to host 3 calls a week. Then we hosted weekly calls. Then we hosted bi-weekly calls. And we're just trying to figure out a good cadence that works for that. So now we're actually just hosting masterclasses every month for anyone in that group. And then you can get your client cases solved in the group itself. Ask questions.
Honestly, I'm kind of excited to do like monthly. I don't know. I feel like we're going to be able to pour into you guys so much more. I think that was Kelsey and I's biggest thing was like, obviously when we started merging, we didn't really know what this is going to look like. And if anything, I hope we're an example of like, you guys can refine over time. Like you set one idea in play, right? And then you're like, okay, but what about this and this? And then as you write it out, you start to also feel the vibe of like what you're doing and the energy you're putting into it. And like, is it worth it, right? Are people actually getting something out of it? And we found that when we were doing 3 times a week, we were like, it's almost like too much, right? It's like people are, coming to us and it's a lot of the same questions, or people haven't had time to go apply the advice that we've told them about. Yep. And then when we switched to bi-weekly, and it also went seasonally, right? Like we were not super busy in the beginning of the year, and then the summer comes, things pick up, plans pick up. We went to bi-weekly. kind of the same thing again. We didn't really come to the calls with topics and things to guide you guys on. And now these master classes are meant to be a lot more directive of like, here's a lesson, here's a takeaway. And then we get to continue the conversation in WhatsApp. So I think it's just going to be way better for all of the coaches that are in there, just to be able to have a little bit more of a direction of what to expect, and less frequent changes. Now it's like, hey, every month we're going to host a masterclass for you guys. We'll always advertise the masterclass for you guys to come to the WhatsApp group, for those of you that aren't in it, and then to attend the masterclass, and you'll get the recording and stuff as well. So yeah, I'm excited. And as going into this time of year, it will not be Halloween tomorrow. It'll be Halloween a day after the masterclass, so you guys can all have your fun that weekend. But it is such a weird time of year where you go into Halloween and then you go into, Thanksgiving time frame and then Christmas. And now I'm personally back to being long distance with my family. It's like, so I'm going to be traveling for Christmas, and there's just like a lot of busyness that happens. And as coaches, we handle these holidays way different, right? Like we see it as no different than, the on season, right? It's off season versus on season. It's all the same for us. And going into like a lot of the refinements that we made recently to Apex's like vision and mission is about just staying ready, right? Like being able to stay ready through every season and however it comes, and keeping yourself primed and not letting yourself see this thing as like a light switch of on and off. But a lot of your clients probably get into that headspace where they think, oh, well, the holidays come. And so I almost also want to just like prep you guys for what to expect going into this season, because it is a season where a lot of coaches get, really down on themselves. I think they call it like the separation season. I think Kendall calls it separation season. Of just like, this is the time of year where both like for business owners and athletes, people in the gym, just even professionals in the working space, like it's the time of year where some people lay off, right? Like they pump the brakes a little bit, and other people decide to continue to hit the gas. Is the gas needing to be like full throttle? No, but it can be like a little tap, right? It's keeping us steady in some way, shape, or form. But as business owners, I find that just a lot of coaches get discouraged this time of year, to the point of where they're like, I should just burn down my business. This isn't worth it. I should just not make a sale. I should just not market my coaching. And I'm like, why would we do that, right? Like, why are we doing that for such a temporary season? And, it's the same way when we tell clients like, hey, we need to be in maintenance right now. Like, we just need to be in maintenance for a few months. And then clients kind of have that pushback. As business owners, we can have that pushback too for these seasons as well. So sometimes you have to like put yourself in the frame of mind of, well, yes, it's business versus fitness. It's like, hey, it's kind of the same concept of those clients who are self-sabotaging themselves. It's also like, as business owners, not self-sabotaging yourself for the season that's coming, thus learning skills and having things readily available for you to handle the scenarios. Like, you have to stay ready as a business owner too.
Yeah. And I think to that point of like separation season, it's also really dependent on like where you're at in business. I went through a phase 2 years ago where my roster was full in October, and I didn't have the capacity to take on more clients. And actually that was the year I took my CSCS in the beginning of December, and then we left for Europe. And so my separation season was actually me like grinding to pass my CSCS and then just becoming a better coach. And that was like my biggest goal at the end of 2023 into early 2024 was like, I want to be the best coach possible. And like, I think the really cool part is it can go in waves of like, what does that look like for you? We have a client that's with Chris in WWBA and then with me in ACA, and she just filled her roster. She just reached like all of her goals. She's like fucking crushing it. Actually, we shouted her out on the podcast that launched yesterday or on Wednesday, and she's like, oh my gosh, me like listening and like getting shouted out. So I'm shouting her out again, and she totally knows what she's talking about, or she totally knows I'm talking about her. But she's just crushing it. And her separation season, I've talked to her about it. She's like, I've reached my one-on-one client goal. Like, I'm capping my roster for now. I know we've talked about like, oh, she could for sure like get some more spots. And she's had people just come in and want to still join her program, which is really cool. And I told her, I'm like, hey, like your goal now is to just become the best coach you can be in a time where you're not heavily focusing on CTAs and you're not heavily focusing on sales. And if people come to you, they come to you, and maybe they do join your roster and you add a couple more people to it. But like, that separation season for her is like, she's just becoming a really good coach. And I think too, that's that cool part is like, if you do find that you're slower this time of year, or you find that you're slower in January, which has been historically the case, 23, 24, 25, like the past 3 January, well, not for 25 for us, but we like we were merging, so it was like an exciting time. But it's become a slower time. You can use that as an excuse of business isn't getting bigger, or you can choose like, this is the time I'm going to separate myself because I am just going to become the most confident, the most authoritative version of myself as a coach, so that when things do pick up for me and do feel better, I actually just feel a whole lot better about what I'm even offering. And that's the whole reason Chris and I do what we do, is because I firmly believe you can be really good at sales, but if you suck at coaching and you're getting all these people into your program, you're not going to be able to do anything with them, because now you have all these people on your roster that don't feel like they're being supported. They don't feel like they're being helped because you're not the confident coach. You're just really good at sales and marketing. And that's not a bad thing to be good at sales and marketing, but you also need a product to back it up.
Yeah. Well, and I think when, people think of building a business, the last thing they think about is their capacity with clients, right? Because you get into coaching, hopefully because you're passionate about it. You get into coaching because this is something you want to do, right? You want to be able to help people. But I get it. Like, it's the shiny object syndrome, where suddenly you start making sales and it's like really exciting. And you're like, then you just keep going. Like, and that's what I did. I just kept going at one point, and I neglected the side of actually acknowledging my capacity and being like, oh shit, okay, yeah, like, sure. And to every coach listening, it's like, maybe you know how to coach 5 clients, maybe you know how to coach 10, but what happens when you get to 20, 25, 30? And then what happens when all of a sudden you have multiple cancellations in a month? What happens when you have multiple emotionally draining clients? Like, you're going to have so many different scenarios beyond just how to set macros. It's how do you handle people, and people in a high capacity? And then how do you navigate and manage your own health, fitness, and like mental health at that point too? I feel like that's a common discussion I have with my clients a lot of the times in ACA, is like talking about their mental health and how to set boundaries and how to like actually work at a capacity where 20 to 25 to 30 people is manageable, but you still have a boundary. You still have something with it where you're not giving all of yourself to these people. So it goes way beyond just the education of it. It goes into literally like your own wellness more times than not. And you don't realize it actually, I think, until you've been someone who's lost yourself. Like, I definitely went through a burnout cycle, and I know you have too, Kelsey, where you just kind of lose yourself in the mix of all the things. And my one focus for a lot of my girls right now is, I don't want you to lose yourself building your business. Like, I want you to still feel like you are yourself. And that's where I really like give a lot of credit to that client that you mentioned and shouted out, is that, she even messaged me yesterday. She's like, send me a message. She goes like, hey, Chris, like, I got back to her end of month check-in, and she was like, I totally agree on all the things. We have a call next week. So she was like, I'm going to come so prepared. I have like already multiple notes. And I was like, cool. Like, we're not even going to have small talk on this call. Like, we're just getting right to business. And she came to me and she's like, yeah, so I think I want to grow, my membership, and I think I want to try this, and I want to do this. And I'm like, I love that. Like, I love that you're not looking at this max roster. Cause I've had other clients for sure come and be like, hey, my roster's full. Like, I'm just going to chill, like, or they're just like, they have no desire to do anything else, which is fine. Your roster is just not going to be max forever. So it's about staying ready in business even. And that's what I love about this individual. She was like, I think I want to do this, and this could grow a pipeline for that. And I think I want to pour into this. Like, her work ethic. Like, we'll have her on this podcast one day, I'm sure.
We do need to, for sure.
We'll get back into the mix of some guests now that I'm settled. But I'm just so proud of her. And I wish, more individuals could show up in that capacity when it comes to their business and their health and fitness even too. I'm sure we all feel that for clients as well. So you're approaching this weird season where some of you guys may be at a max. Some of you guys may be like, well, I want 20 more. Some of you may be like, well, I want 20 more, but the 10 I have are really freaking time consuming. Maybe you're approaching a season where you're starting to see a trend with a lot of your clients. Check-ins are starting to drop off. Excuses are starting to increase. You've got literally every excuse in the book. I feel like it's pulled out this time of year. And I know it's so easy as coaches to like be like, well, what the hell? Like, we're showing up, we're doing it. Why can't they? But you're dealing with human behavior, right? So it's like, how do you work with the psychology behind it all? And it's just a huge ripple effect. This time of year it matters so much, but people don't notice how much it matters because they get discouraged in their businesses because of the way that clients are behaving.
Yeah. there's a few things that came up for me as you're talking, and I think too, like, to your point, this season, it's a weird season, right? And we have this sweet spot, and like you said, it's human behavior. And one thing when I first started that I didn't have, let me actually say first, is that I think what has made me a good coach is being human, like not being like, okay, this is by the book. And I, have knowledge around nutrition, I have knowledge around training and like all that, but like I think what has helped me have success in coaching is having a human piece of it. And I think a lot of coaches, the messaging around this time of year is like, don't let the holidays ruin this, don't let this ruin this. And I think as an athlete, I've always learned when you say don't do something, the only thing they hear is what to do. And so instead, it's like, how do we find a strategy that actually just fits their life into the holidays? Like, when you really look at the holiday season, it's kind of silly because it's really only 3 days. Like Thanksgiving, Christmas Eve. But like, then you think about all the holiday parties and all the things, and it can become a lot. And so that's where you do have to have a human element. It's not necessarily a time where you have to be like, oh, sign up for coaching, otherwise you're going to suck. Like, that's not part of it. I think it's really finding a way to be supportive with your clients and have them enjoying the holidays. Also knowing this isn't their job. And there's so much guilt. Like, if you just watch television during this time of year, like really start paying attention to like commercials this time of year, it's like a lot. It's all about spending money, and well, that's what commercials are in general, but it's all about like the newest iPhone, the newest technology, and then it's about sweets and decadence and like all these things, and like there's a lot of noise around that. And so our job as a coach isn't to like be like, oh, don't do that. They just finished summer. Like, we're in this sweet spot of the year. That's what I was going to get at. We're in the sweet spot of the year, September and October, where people are like, oh, summer's over, I'm finally ready to get back to it. October ends, and then they're like, oh my gosh, like the holidays are here, it's time to like stop. And so for you and your program, it's like, how do you find a way to still be really, really supportive in there for your clients, and also approach it in a way that makes them still want to check in, makes them not feel guilty when they maybe fall off track? And like, how do you actually build a plan? That's something that I've always like kind of preached, is like, I actually want to fit in your life to your plan. And like, I will find a way to make every single one of your events work in the plan that we create, in the protocols that we create. Because especially for people who have, like you and I, we don't live by our families. I'm going to have a family myself. Like, for parents, like this time of year, it's so important to teach your clients to actually just be mindful and present versus teaching them that they have to be super strict. And I think that's where self-sabotage can come in. All the excess noise, your clients are already beating themselves up for whatever actions they do this holiday season. And so if you're the coach who can actually be like, no, like that stuff you can fit in. It's stuff that you can still live your life and enjoy your life. And I think it's all about like more promoting memories versus, I just went in like 16 different directions. So hopefully you're tracking, but that's where my head was at.
Well, I think too, with the whole, like, the whole idea of like, you need to do this, you need to do that. If you guys ever notice that clients go ghost, it's not, I'm going to say this, it's not always you, right? Like, it's not always us. Sometimes it is just people ghost and you're never going to get to the bottom of it. But if you are going into the holiday season being the coach that's like, you need to dial in, you need to do this, you need to do that, and then you notice that suddenly your clients are like, yeah, okay, I'll do it, and then they ghost, it's probably because they feel really guilty and shameful because you are coming to them of like, I need you to do this. So I always compare it to like the parents and the kids, right? Like, if your parents told you, you need to get an A+ on this test, right? Like, you need to do it. And let's say you got a B-, you're going to be like, I'm going to go lie and tell them I got an A+ and hopefully they never find out. Or like, I hope that they never ask about it, right? Or if they do, I'm just going to, bounce around the question a little bit. That's like how clients are going to be sometimes if we try to be this like parental figure of like, you need to do this and you need to do that. They're adults. They're going to be like, okay, yeah. And then they're going to go do something else. I think there's a time and place to push when you get your clients to a certain point, whereas I would rather our clients stay really steady. And as you were talking, actually, I did the math and I was like, let's say Thanksgiving takes a week and let's say Christmas takes a week, like a week of just events and being off track or whatever. Like the month of November, the month of December, you have like 7 days of events in each month.
Yeah.
That is 3.8% of someone's year. Like 3.8. That is what you should teach your clients, right? Yeah. It's like, this is nearly 4% of your year. Sure, again, summer probably has another maybe higher percentage. Maybe it's like 6-7%. But really at that point, you're looking at 10-11% of their year is being dedicated to events. So important to teach your clients that, and that this is a day. It is black and white. There is no gray area, but where they're going to fall off track is if they allow this ripple effect to happen of, okay, this holiday turns into a holiday week, into a holiday, month and all of this stuff. To a holiday year. Holiday year. And so with that, that's going to be based on the authority you have as a coach and the precedent that you set with clients of like your expectations of them this time of year. Now, don't get me wrong. I have some clients who are like, they can dial in and during Christmas, they're like, I don't care. I can do whatever. I have some clients who as I've gotten to know them, know that they cannot do that. And I'm like, I'm going to be realistic with you as your coach. And I'm actually going to help you kind of pump the brakes just a little bit this time of year versus trying to continue to hit the gas, but yet you're running on empty because you have no idea how to handle this capacity. Going back to capacity, clients just don't know how to handle the capacity sometimes of holidays plus fitness, and we need to find a way to fit it into their lives, like you said. So I think when you really do the math and you're like, damned 4%, like it's really not that deep at the end of the day. And it's reversible, like, right? Anything, the inflammation maybe they feel, right? You're going to be able to work on that. There's going to be a time and place to do it. I'm not saying keep them in this spiral that they've been in for years. You're already going to put them in a better place than they probably have been. But if you want long-term success for your clients, you need to be able to look at how can I meet them where they're at versus how do I be this like, you need to type of coach, because you're probably going to see a higher number of ghosting and turnover happen this time of year then, and that's the opposite of what you want.
Yeah, I mean, I've done it. I've had coaches that are like super strict, super regimented, and it didn't excite me to do anything. And if I as a coach would have a glass of wine and didn't want to track it, what do you think your clients are doing, right? Like, I didn't want to have to in my check-in be told like, oh, well, why are you doing that in a cut, right? Where I'm like, if you want to have a glass of wine in a cut, great. Just track it in. And so I think that's where it comes down to as well. Going back to cutting, what I just mentioned, it's like, be smart about the clients that you know, and maybe you don't know yet. Most likely you know a little bit about the client within the first couple of weeks of working together and whether or not they can handle a deficit. I would never put a client who is so weight conscious into a deficit at this time of year, ever, because they're just going to feel inflamed with events. And that kind of goes into client that's just not consistent in a deficit regardless. I don't care if a client wants to lose 30 pounds. If they can't stay consistent in a deficit, take them out of the deficit. They haven't earned the deficit. They need to be at maintenance. And that's a story for another day. I mean, we've had a podcast about maintenance before, but I think too, it's like, what is the capacity? A cut is stressful. And even if a client comes to you with the main goal of weight loss, the holiday season is probably not the most ideal time if they're busy. I actually just had I just did a check-in with a client on Tuesday, and I gave her two different sides of the coin of like cutting strategy. She hasn't cut since August of last year. We had to heal her gut and do a ton of different stuff over the past year and a half-ish. So, more like a year. But I was like, hey, here's some different options. We could start a deficit at the beginning of November, take a diet break during Christmas into the new year and a couple of days during Thanksgiving and make that work. Or we just don't have a lot of stress around it, especially if she doesn't live by family either. And traveling and all the things. I'm like, we could just also wait till the new year and like just work on getting really, really consistent through the holidays, enjoying your holidays. And I think that's the biggest thing is like, yes, there are certain clients who probably could be in a deficit during the holidays, but at what point is it actually worth it for them? Like, is it actually necessary? because a client that's at maintenance during the holidays is probably going to have a lot less cravings and a lot less guilt around events because they have a lot more food to work with. And like they can fit that in. They can fit in that small truffle that they want to have, while they're snacking before dinner for Christmas Day or whatever it may be. If they're grazing, they can more easily like work that into their plan, or they can probably guilt-free have a couple untracked days in and not feel like they sabotage their whole progress, like they probably would feel that way in a cut. Like if you have a client who panics when they are 2 pounds up on the scale after eating out, like they do not put them in a cut. Please take them out of the cut immediately. They do not need it. Not right now. So
yeah. I had a similar scenario. I have a client who's in a cut right now, and we had the discussion. She could go longer, but we had that discussion of like, she has vacation in November, plus then the holidays. She's totally, she's an amazing client, but she's totally that client that like gets a little lost in the events, right? And when she goes, and if she doesn't follow the rules of her deficit, she can get really down on herself. And so it's been great because she hasn't had, a lot of events. She's been progressively losing weight. She's had great results. And so I told her, I was like, hey, like, you've made great progress and I want you to continue to make great progress. And for that reason, we're going to reverse you come the next, I think like 2 weeks. I was like, let's do 2 more weeks of this. We're going to reverse you out. We're going to put you in maintenance for the next 3-4 months, assess where we're at 3-4 months from now, assess how you're feeling come the new year, and then reconvene on the cut, right? The cut will always be there. And I think that's where clients forget is that like, it's not like the special edition Louis Vuitton bag that, people see it time of year, right? With Christmas and the scarcity that people feel around like items of this like limited edition thing. Cuts are not limited edition. Cuts are literally like around year round. They are an annual thing that you can grab at, you can go in, you can go out, you can do whatever you want. And I think people forget that because they so emotionally are tied to the deficit, which I get, again, for people who have been wanting to lose weight or want to feel more confident. You want that so desperately, but is it worth doing it right now, or is it worth doing it in a season of life where it feels a little bit better? And I think that that's a really big piece of the emotional side of it. And that client was obviously super receptive and was like, yeah, that sounds actually really good, because I also don't want her to still be in her deficit and then go on this vacation and suddenly come back, feeling heavier, feeling like she's gained some weight, because like water retention, her body's not, it's like a shock to the system, right? When you're going on these vacations or holiday events, whatever it may be, and suddenly you're having a surplus of foods. I prefer to take my clients out of deficits before vacations, before weddings, before big things like that, because it's just such a shock. And I don't want to mess with their mindset. I want them to still feel proud of themselves. So I'm really excited with her. And it's about having clients that you've kind of been able to have that conversation with. And you have to just know it's not you saying, hey, you need to. It's me saying, hey, I really think that this is going to be the best option for us. It still leads us to your common goal that you have, but here's kind of the roadmap and what it looks like. And then the client's more receptive to it because it feels more collaborative.
Yeah, I think that's so important. And like too, with just the whole topic around self-sabotage, when you really think, and this is where like actually understanding, I don't know for you, like it probably makes your job a lot easier having a background in like deep psychology work, like majoring in that.
And being married to a therapist who I consult plenty.
Yes, that helps for sure. For me, it's something I've just had to learn, like, and I think I've learned it from working with clients, like being an in-person trainer, you don't deal with that. And so I think I would say that was my one downfall, is that I had to really, really learn human behavior and really like, and it did work having like a lot of clients to learn from. But one thing you have to really consider, with the self-sabotage is, well, first you consider the client's age. And the reason I say that is because let's say you have a 60-year-old client. She's been dieting since the 80s, 70s, on and off. Has like a long history of dieting. Same with someone in their 40s, 50s. Like they've been dieting since the 80s, 90s as well. And so you really have to consider the amount of time that your clients have been thinking about being thin. And that was the cool thing back then. Like the 70s, 80s, 90s, like you think back to the 50s, and you're probably not coaching people who like were in the 50s, but you think about like bodies throughout the years.
Like picture, I don't know, like maybe who do I know?
You have like an 80-year-old client.
My mom was born in 65. So if she was born in 1950, she'd be 80? Yeah? 50s?
Yeah, like I think if you're born in the
75?
50, well, if you're born in the
No,
50,
you'd
if
be
you're born
75.
in 1950, you'd be 75. So
So
more than likely you don't have those clients. But, the 50s was more like there was more curves and like the 40s and even into the 60s. I'm not quite sure. The 60s were just a kind of a weird time, I feel like. But like 70s, 80s, 90s, if you look at pictures of your parents or maybe of yourself, I don't know. I don't know how, whoever it is. If you look at picture from the 70s, 80s, 90s, everyone was, not everyone, but the crazy part is a lot of people were really thin. They had no butt. Everybody wanted to be thin. You had like Cindy, is it Cindy Crawford? Wasn't she like
yes,
the big like jazzercise?
I think so.
I don't know. Regardless, you had jazzercise, you had step aerobics, you had all those things. And the 90s, early 2000s came around. We had Atkins, we had all these South Beach diet, all these things. So when you're considering like all of that, your older clients have years of that. Your millennial clients grew up with all of the, like,
I would like to
who was it?
fact check you. Cindy
Thank you.
Crawford is not associated with Jazzercise, but she did have a famous 1992 fitness video called Shape Your Body, which was a workout
Nice.
series that is a competitor to Jazzercise brand.
Oh, so
Not
she made
to
her
be
own
confused.
jazzercise.
Yes.
See, I knew she did something. See, I was on track a little bit, but just not the branded jazzercise. But you think about millennials. So, like, we grew up, and when I remember actually when Hilary Duff, because Hilary Duff's like the one Disney star, and also she was my favorite, like
I
always
love
my
her.
favorite. I'm a Lizzie McGuire, Hilary Duff fiend. But she had a time where she got like what Hollywood deemed chunky, and it was just a normal body. But we had that. Like, that's what we grew up with. And then we grew up into social media. And so you have to think about all the noise, regardless of how old your client is. They have consumed noise. And
I even think of the noise I consumed, like being in the
yeah,
grocery store with your parents, right? You have like the, People magazine and Us magazine and all the things that literally were like Britney Spears seen in a bathing suit, like gained 20 pounds. Then you see like
right.
Christina Aguilera loses, 20 pounds, whatever it may be. And you're
Yeah.
like, you're being shown one photo of a woman in a bikini and another photo of a woman in a bikini, and you're being told one is worse than the other. Like one's good, one's bad. And like you're going to be put on the front of a cover of a magazine for one reason or another, and it's either going to be good or bad. It's not going to be because you're healthy.
And there's all the noise around food. Like, there's all the noise around, oh, this person's doing this diet, this person's doing this diet, this person ate a carb. Oh my. There's just so much noise, and that's what your clients are consuming. You have all the science behind you're like, carbs are great. I love carbs. I'm like, me sitting over here, I've been having 300 plus grams of carbs for like a year and a half. I mean, I'm also pregnant, but before
Baby is
that,
well fed.
baby loves carbs. But before that, I've always understood, and guess what? I haven't blown up. Well, I have now blown up like a balloon. But prior to that,
You've blown up. To clarify, she's blown up because she's growing a child.
Yes. I have quite literally a balloon in my belly. But I have trained my mind to know that fueling your body is important, whereas your clients don't. They start to consume more carbs because you increase their carbs. They wake up the next morning a pound heavier and they're like, it's the carbs. And you're like, well, like, technically it is because like carbs hold on to more water, but like it's not like a bad thing. Like you didn't just gain a pound of fat overnight, right? And that's what triggers the self-sabotage response. And so when you're taking on clients who have a history of self-sabotage, it's this crazy, and I don't know if you have an answer to this, Chris. Wires get crossed and they're like, oh, I just gained a pound overnight over carbs because I had more rice or more quinoa, more fruit. Now, instead of continuing that and just, having a healthy diet, I'm actually just going to have Chips Ahoy and ice cream and candy because if I'm gaining weight eating healthy, why don't I just eat unhealthy? And I don't know what that phenomenon is, but it happens to your clients.
So it's funny. I actually was doing a talking head yesterday, and I almost used Pavlov's dogs as a example. And it's not completely correlated, right? But it's like, if you remember the experiment, right? There was a stimuli who rang a bell, and then the response was that the dogs would like automatically salivate because, you know, they're conditioning. They eventually were conditioned to the stimuli itself. People are so, this is like patterns of behavior, right? So like the stimuli is the scale goes up, right? The stimuli is like, okay, scale went up, whatever. The conditioned response that someone has had over chronic periods of time is, well, now I need to go do the complete opposite of what I've been doing, right? Like this clearly isn't working. They can't differentiate 2 pounds of water weight versus 2 pounds of actual body fat that was gained. And so it's the whole concept of like conditioning. Their brains have just been conditioned for so long. And it's just funny you bring that up because I was literally researching it yesterday to be like, am I right when I say this? But it's like similar yet different, obviously. But it is like they are Pavlov's dogs, and they've been like they have a stimuli that has told them that this behavior needs to happen and should happen naturally. So now we're trying to undo someone's conditioning that has been, exactly, it could be 5, 10, 20, 30, 40 years that you're trying to reverse. And I think, you know, it's so funny as coaches, we can so easily sit there and be like, well, we're not going to be able to help a client lose 20 pounds that took them 5 years to gain in a matter of 6 months. Like as coaches, we know that. But then it's like, we're not understanding that, well, our client's mindset has been built now for 5, 10, 20, 30 years. So while we can sit, and trust me, you and I both, we get frustrated. Like Kelsey and I are our own little like case study friends together where we're just like going back and forth about client cases. Like, hey, can you help me with this? Because like frustration is natural and is going to happen. But I think we forget that somebody's mindset, not just the physicality of what's happened on the outside, but the inside is actually the hardest part, because that has even happened longer than the 5 pounds or the 20 pounds it took to gain over 5 years, because their mindset's been a lot longer than that. So to your point, I just wanted to add to that because that's kind of like the concept of it, if you will.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's something I think a lot of even like newer coaches, I think it's really easy to see it's black and white. It's like, okay, well, you have the macros, you have the workouts, you just need to do them. And I was totally that way as well. I was like, why is it so hard? Like, I don't understand for the longest time until I recognized like, this is just human behavior. And something I really like that Chris actually tells a lot of our clients to talk about with their clients is, where else is that coming up for you in life? Because more than likely, if your client is self-sabotaging with nutrition, training, all that, like those are things and patterns that are happening everywhere. And like you have to start to get your client to recognize it is a pattern. It's kind of like the 12-step like Alcoholics Anonymous. Like I don't know all the steps, but I know step 1 is admitting that you have a problem. And it's very similar. It's like if your client doesn't recognize that that is an issue, and it doesn't mean you're just straight up telling them, you're like, this is a problem. You can't just tell people that. Like you can't just do that, right? You could, it's just not going to be received well. And that's where Chris and I talk a lot about like motivational interviewing. And I became such a better coach when I learned to ask questions. And something we work on a lot with our coaches in Apex is, historically, even if you're a great coach, it's easy to just want to answer the question. And I think for coaches, it's a pride thing where it's like, well, if I can't answer the client's question, then I'm not a good coach. And it's like, that's not the case. Like, you know the answer, but the client doesn't. And they need to come to it on their own for whatever reason. People need to come to a conclusion on their own. Otherwise, they are not going to learn. It's funny. I was actually talking to my mom about that because I am with child, obviously. And she's like, everyone's going to be giving you advice all the time. And you just have to learn to take it. And I'm like, but the thing is, I don't want, like, that's not how Kid and I operate. I want to learn it on my own. And if I don't learn it on my own, I'm probably not going to follow the advice. I appreciate advice nonetheless, but a lot of humans are the same. Like, I actually don't want advice unless I ask for it. And if I don't ask for it and I get advice, I'm actually going to do the opposite, even if the advice was correct. And I can't stop that. That's just who I am. And so that's why a lot of your clients are kind of, in a sense, that same way. They need to actually understand the why behind why they're doing something. And that's why you actually just have to learn to ask the right questions versus telling them like, oh, well, to hit your protein, you just need to add this, this, and this. It's like, well, why don't you ask them why they're struggling to hit their protein? Because for the past 6 weeks, you've been telling them how to hit their protein. And so you telling them that they need to eat 5 ounces of chicken instead of 4 ounces of chicken is not helping them, because it's clearly not getting through to them. So you have to just start asking the right questions. It's like, hey, like, what is coming up for you when you're struggling with protein? Like, I know we've had a few like conversations about protein. Like, what do you feel like comes up for you when you're making the decision to eat? Like, where are you struggling to hit it? Is it that the protein doesn't sound good? Is it like lack of options? And like better understanding that, and then they're answering the question for themselves, because they're like, I don't actually know. And you're like, well, try to think about it. Let's sit here, like, let's not talk about it. Like, what is coming up for you? Because then they recognize that pattern behavior. You telling them the thing isn't always going to be helpful.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think too, I just keep going back to childhood when like parents would tell you something and you're just like, well, no, right? Like, but I don't want to. Like, I'm gonna go do the complete opposite. And we forget that while obviously our clients are adults, they're learning this for the first time, right? It's like newborn, it's toddlers, right? It's like we're all learning the world for the first time. Let's face it, we're all learning every new season of life for the first time. But I think we forget that while we know it and it's simple to us, the client simply hasn't gone through that yet. And so you're literally trying to teach a toddler to walk is what you're trying to do. You're like, here it is. And, parents, anyone who's taught a toddler to walk or to potty train at that point, you're like, it takes a lot of energy and effort to do that, and consistency and repetitiveness. So if you're a coach and you're like, I feel like a broken record, I feel like I'm giving the same advice every time, I feel like I constantly have to say this, you're not doing anything wrong by doing that. Because could you imagine if every parent who's potty training their kid was like, I just feel like I have to do this all the time? Because you don't want your kid to pee their pants. Like you're doing this
or on you. Yeah.
Or on you. Like, potty training is like a military, drill weekend, I've heard. So it's like it's its own battle. And so you just have to put it into comparison. I know it's so much different when you think, well, you're like, well, Chris, it's obviously not, but it is. Like, if you start looking at it in that way, you're going to be a lot more forgiving to your clients and also to yourself, because that is where it's not only self-sabotaging. Like, the topic of this is obviously clients who self-sabotage, but it's also coaches who self-sabotage themselves. And it's just like, you're going to continue to do that if you allow this to recurringly come up for you. But the main point is, like, you guys are also capable and you're dealing with human behavior, and it's not bad to need support on that or to even just get validation on that. I feel like that's my job most of the time, is just giving coaches validation that, like, you're not a bad coach. And I wish someone else had told me that too. So, I hope this podcast has been helpful. And then I hope that, our podcast, or not podcast, masterclass that we're going to run is going to go a lot more in depth with more just like tangible and organized takeaways. This was kind of an opportunity for Kelsey and I to just kind of riff together. But those are kind of my finishing thoughts.
Yeah, for sure. It's like, I think for sure take home, it's learning to ask the right questions, but also like understanding how long these behaviors have been going on. It's the psychology part of it. And that's what we're going to dive into in the masterclass next week. Which we're really excited for, especially just coming this time of year. And we're excited to like roll out the first masterclass for the group. So like I said, in the description, we'll have the link to register. We'll have the link to join the WhatsApp group. If you're already in the WhatsApp group, make sure to head over, because we posted the link to sign up. We've probably sent a few reminders since, but the original one was sent on the 16th. But yeah, we're really pumped to roll this out, and hopefully just give you guys some good podcasts going into the holidays of how to work with more challenging clients and more challenging cases, because the holidays can actually be a really enjoyable time for you and your clients if you stop self-sabotaging, because then your clients will as well.
Also, my trash is getting picked up if anyone hears loud noise.
Mine too. That's why I kept muting.
Oh, look at us. We didn't know what day trash was, guys. We had to ask our neighbor. We were like, so what day does this happen on? Like,
what? Probably nice. You just like finish unpacking. Now you get trash pickup.
Dude, the amount of boxes that are in our garage now, I'm like, we're going to need, like, they need to come every week now. Okay.
That's how we've been with all these freaking baby things. Caden's like, I think I'm finally caught up. And then
another package. Not. Yeah, you know, the pod's only, we still have to, the freaking rain here has made it really hard to get the rest of the stuff out of the pod.
And it's supposed to be like the next 5 days.
I'm like, hopefully, I was like looking at the radar. I'm like, I don't know if it's physically going to rain anymore the rest of today. I think it will tomorrow. So I'm like, if at any point there's a window of opportunity, I'm going to slither out there and get some boxes. But, yeah.
Slither out there like Burrow.
Best way to meet neighbors, by the way, guys, is just unpacking a pod. Who still don't hire movers, okay? Do it yourself because you will meet so many neighbors, and our neighbors are actually really cool and great. Frick, what was I going to say? Oh, this is such a side tangent, but I want to say it before the holidays come. Plan your time off. Like, give yourself Christmas off. Give yourself Christmas Eve off. Give yourself Thanksgiving and the day before. No, like, just like give yourself time off. Like, you deserve it. You've worked your ass off this year. Like, wrap up the year. Be proud of yourself and take time off. Like, talking about self-sabotaging, just don't decide.
Get ahead of it too. Like, with your clients that have questions that come up with like every single event, get ahead of it the week before so that you can take time off of messaging and let your clients know, like, hey, I'm going to be responding 48 to 72 hours. Like, that's how long it's going to be. I am taking time for myself and my family as well. I think like it's Christmas.
It's Christmas.
Like, you deserve, just because you're self-employed doesn't mean you don't deserve some time off. It's like the one time a year, I think, that you really truly can take it off without feeling like you need to actually open your messages and check them. 10 out of 10 agree.
Also, yeah, really great. Christmas is on a Thursday this week. So all your clients are going to be off anyways. Like, they're all going to be, you know, you set them up with a plan. They'll be fine. We'll do an episode probably about just like how to plan for holiday stuff with clients and time off. But I just had to say that now while we're in October so that you guys.
Yeah. Tell your clients now.
Yeah. Yep. Go in and start making a plan.
Yep. All right, guys. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll catch you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.